All right, there's the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions. We're continuing our Monday Night Wars review series. This is going to be round 7. This is October, you said 16th, right?
16th, yeah.
1995. All right, I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Man, let's get into this. Like we've got to it's at the point right now. It's like we've got a landslide of a lead here. What is it? Nitro's up 4-1, I believe. Yeah, 4-1 because the
Yeah, the first
original
one.
was a default. Now the ratings they put on both of these is actually Raw winning this week 2.6 to 2.2. I don't see it that way. Okay, more people tuned in to see the main event. I get the steel cage match. That's fine, but we're gonna break this down and then we'll give you our opinion of who wins this one. Monday Nitro started off with they showed from before the card WCW Pro Ric Flair getting
Mhm.
Sting to be his tag team partner and pretty much Sting telling him, "I will bury you if
Yeah.
you
I'll
cross
leave,
me,
I'll leave for dead.
leave you for dead."
Yeah, well,
Bobby Heenan mentioning that these guys haven't teamed up for over 5 years, and there's a good reason for that. But in the main event tonight, we've got Ric Flair supposedly and Sting versus Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman. So our opening match on the card, if you can even call it that, was for the television championship. It was Diamond Dallas Page defending the title against Johnny B. Bad. They showed how this feud started several weeks back. Johnny B. Bad being cost the United States title shot thanks to Page. So these two are going to go at it here, as well as Halloween Havoc. This didn't even get out of the starting gates. It's like I don't even know why they tried this. To me, this is a strike against Nitro in some sense because Page hits Johnny B. Bad before the match started, before the bell even rung. He hits him with the title.
yep.
Then they ring the bell. Then Nick Patrick decides that he's going to disqualify Diamond Dallas Page for something that happened before the bell sounded. Not to mention Page's sarcasm by counting his own 3 on Page on Johnny B. Bad and shooting off his bad gun or whatever you want to call it. But this is where I think they screwed up because he hits him, like I said, he hits him before the bell. Then the bell rings, and then Nick Patrick calls a match. So we don't have a match. So Johnny B. Bad
Yes.
wins by disqualification.
Yeah, but I guess when you look at it, he was already injured, so his mentality as a referee is like, well, this is not fair. This guy's the bell rings and now he's compromised, so let me ring the bell.
It ended in a no contest,
Yeah, so
but
there you go.
he gives Bad the victory
All
by
right.
way of
That's just
disqualification.
building the feud. I didn't really mind it because it's just continuing to build that feud.
Alrighty. So let's slip over to Monday Night Raw. Oh my God. Opening match on the card. Oh, this should be a WrestleMania match. Doink versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Oh Lord
I forgot
Jesus.
Doink was even still there by this point.
Yeah, I forgot. Babyface Doink.
Oh my God. Phil Apollo, I believe it was.
Dun, 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 dun.
And of course, during this match, Lawler's trying to tell everybody what happened to Shawn
Oh
Michaels.
yeah, right.
We'll
And
get to that in a little bit.
Vince is like trying to cut him off. Like
I'm telling you, the two of them, I like Ross and Lawler, but during this time with Vince and Lawler, it was kind of funny.
it was funny. It was funny. Yeah,
The way Vince and Lawler went at it.
right.
Um, this match was pretty much like nothing. It was pedigree and a pin, and Triple H,
Yeah,
Hunter Hearst Helmsley gets the victory.
remember he was spraying his perfume ringside.
The
For their
modern day Rick
arrogance.
Martel,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
trying,
So Hunter gets the pin on Doink. He's still undefeated. Yay. Next match on the card for Nitro was actually a pretty damn good match. This could have been the main event. It was Eddie Guerrero
Mhm.
versus the debut of Chris Benoit.
Yep.
Oh my God, I could
It's
not
a great
turn away from
match.
this match. They were doing things that we hadn't seen before in this
Yeah.
match, and credit Bobby Heenan to saying that because after this match, Bischoff was talking about how the cruiserweight division was going to be coming in. They were going to launch it. Bobby had said, "Well, these guys going against each other will be tremendous. Imagine Chris Benoit or Eddie Guerrero against one of the bigger guys on the division. How on the roster, how big that was going to be." Trying to bump that up, saying they don't only have to fight
Right,
themselves
right,
amongst themselves, in their own division. But this matchup itself, man, to me, I thought it could go longer, but the timing was just
right. Yeah,
right.
it was good.
Benoit gets the victory in his debut with a pretty much it was like a full Nelson back suplex combo pin. and he beats Eddie Guerrero. Before that, he had pretty much dropped Guerrero on his head, and he's pretty much
Yeah.
done. But this rivalry is not going to end in the upcoming weeks. These guys are still going to be facing each other, including in a tag match as well.
Great. It's great stuff.
It was. Next thing on the card for Raw, right after the Triple H match, or I think maybe even during it, I don't know. Horowitz and Hakushi in the back talking baseball. Yeah, goodbye.
Yeah.
And then following that, before the next match, Gorilla Monsoon announced that Yokozuna would be facing Mabel at In Your House due to the injury they caused to the Undertaker the previous week. This is when he'll come back at Survivor Series wearing that little funky mask. So anyway, Eric, they caved it in.
Mabel did legitimately.
Yeah. This is pretty much I think where Mabel's push ended. Once he hurt him, it was over. They didn't do anything with him. Then again, they shouldn't have done anything with him. Period.
No, he still had a job though.
Yeah, briefly.
Well, he comes back as Viscera, so
by that point, Vince was looking for anybody. Yeah. So, in any event, the next match on the card was a real
champion versus champion. It's champion versus champion, man.
Yep, for the tag team titles, the Smoking Guns defending them against the USWA Tag Team Champions PG-13.
But the USWA titles weren't on the line.
Nope, thank God. I honestly thought at first that the hubcaps they were coming out with were the titles, but that wasn't the case, thank God. And of course, Vince is worried during the match. Well, what happens if PG-13 wins the titles? Razor and 1-2-3 Kid will have just a regular match against the Smoking Guns at the pay-per-view. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that, Vince. Because this match was a stink fest, and once again a side suplex, top rope leg drop gets them the victory, and Smoking Guns retain the tag team titles over PG-13.
Yeah, thank God it's over.
Yep. So now moving over to Monday Nitro, Mean Gene Okerlund was in the ring. He interviewed the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, and the Giant as they get ready for Halloween Havoc. Talking about what they did to Hogan previously, shaving his mustache, wrenching his neck, all awesome stuff here. And of course, we'll hear from Hulk Hogan later on in the program. And then, of course, the next match on their card was Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Ming, with once again the Disco Inferno.
Disco Fever. They're really pushing Disco Fever. Disco Inferno, I should say. I don't know why. He's there every week.
So I really was kind of hoping that when Ming came out, he threw him a beating, but Disco just ran.
Yeah. Well, what else are you gonna do?
I don't know. In about 2 weeks, Disco will have a match on Nitro, but until then, I guess he's just going to dance. So Hacksaw Jim Duggan comes out. He attacks Duggan before the match. This pretty much was dominated by Ming.
Yeah.
And, Duggan tried his best, couldn't do it.
King Haku versus King Duggan.
Yep, the rematch. Battle of Royalty in this one.
Yeah.
But this time, Haku gets the upper hand as he uses his submission hold, which is the spike pretty much to the carotid. Duggan submits, or the referee stopped the match. So Ming gets the victory over Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It was a very, very short match, too. So, and then following that, this is when they had the Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart segment talking about the Giant.
Dark Side Hogan.
Hogan calling himself Don Corleone Hogan is here. Oh, my God.
I wouldn't go that far.
You just killed the segment, brother.
Then he brought up, he said that Andre was the Giant's father. He brought it up again.
He said he's going to bury him in Detroit like he did his old man.
Father, yeah. In front of 90-something thousand.
Please end this gimmick. It's not working.
The evil and the monster truck and the Bigfoot team better have my truck ready. Otherwise... I'm gonna just okay. All right, moving on.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to Monday Night Raw. The next couple of segments they showed this past weekend. Doc Hendricks interviewing Jim Cornette and the British Bulldog, really trying to boost him up for the title match against Diesel. I thought the interview was very well done. They're really at this point pushing Bulldog to be at that main event level, which I believed he was always there.
Yeah,
he just needed that opportunity. Unfortunately, never got the belt. Then they showed the Ahmed Johnson segment. Yeah. He was talking about his mom as he's getting ready to make his debut in a couple of weeks. Yeah. And then, of course, the next match on the card, Joe Dugan versus Dean Douglas.
Let me
And
tell you, man, these squash
yeah,
matches are really
I don't
hurting
understand why they're
Raw.
doing them.
They're really hurting Raw, man. Really hurting.
Exactly. This should have been eliminated
The
in
jobbers,
around
yeah,
93, 94.
yeah,
By
yeah,
this
yeah.
point, you shouldn't be doing this.
No, 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 no. So anyway,
But any event they are, and of course, they show what Dean Douglas did to Shawn
Sean,
Michaels the week before, fined $7,500 for his actions. And then plus Vince announced what happened to Shawn Michaels the past weekend in Syracuse. We all know the story. Shawn wasn't out there with all of his buddies. I think it was only the Bulldog
an X Pac
and
boy,
X
or
Pac,
1, 2, 3
or
kid.
1, 2, 3 Kid at the time, yeah. Because Hall Nash, Razor Diesel, and
Another town,
were town, yeah, with
another
Triple
town.
H, and Shawn Malvin with some military's girl, boy's girl, got his butt whooped and whatnot. And then they had him on the phone talking to him about it, and not yet have they announced that he's not. He has to forfeit the Intercontinental
Right, right,
Championship.
right. He said
That's
he's
coming
gonna
up in the
show
ring
up.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, he said he's gonna show up, but he doesn't know if he's gonna be 100%. And we all know.
I don't agree with what they did at the pay-per-view. When we covered the house, we discussed this, that I don't believe Dean Douglas should have won the title. I think it should have been vacant and put up in the match Razor and Diesel. Yeah, okay, Razor and Diesel. Razor and Dean Douglas for the vacated title. Because Dean Douglas is going down as the IC champion, never beat anybody. He didn't beat Shawn. If they're putting it down by forfeit, that's bull. But whatever, it is what it is. And then, of course, they show the gold segment on it. He's talking about his opponent that In Your House will be Marty Jannetty, and then Paul Bearer about what Mabel and Yokozuna did to his Undertaker and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So the next match on the card, the main event for Monday Nitro, it was Ric Flair and Sting versus Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman. However, Sting did not show up for the first part of this match. Ric Flair pretty much fought a handicap match for a good part of the duration of the match. Handled himself pretty well against the two of them, but the numbers game caught up to him. Sting eventually made his way down, which you can make an argument at Halloween Havoc as to why Ric Flair then turned on Sting, because look what Sting just did to him here.
No, he
Says he can't trust him.
He said he didn't control. He wanted to know if it was legit. That's why. And
So
he proved him.
fighting a handicap match proves it.
Yeah, and that's why he came out to help him.
Unfortunately, we know what's coming.
It's the dirtiest player in the game, man.
Seriously. Sting came out like a house of fire, cleaning house against these guys. Stinger splashes all over the place. Sting then threw Pillman onto the top rope, which he fell out of the ring. Ended in a count out. Sting and Ric Flair get the victory. Sting then tells Ric Flair you can trust him. They high-five each other. The crowd's going nuts at this point.
Yeah, all right.
I'm looking at it and going, I feel sorry for you, brother. You didn't learn from 1990.
Nope.
And you will never learn.
Nope.
So as we go from there was one and then they were the high five. That was the last segment. Mean Gene interviewing the two of them as they get ready for their match Halloween Havoc. Moving over to now Monday Night Raw, main event. Oh Lord! In a steel cage match, Bret Hart versus Isaac Yankem. Wow, I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired of this.
Yeah, and if Jerry Lawler interferes or something, then he's got to.
He goes into that cage, which in fact he did, because he said he was the key to victory.
Right.
Turns out he replaced the padlock on the door because when Bret tried to get out, Tim White couldn't open up the padlock to the door. Lawler switched it. He had the key, and I kept trying to tell myself this is Bret Hart versus Kane. This is Bret Hart versus Kane. Trying to make this better in my mind. It's not working.
It dragged on. It dragged. This match dragged.
16-minute match.
It felt longer than that, though, for some reason.
Seriously, it felt like the whole hour of Raw.
Yeah.
And, of course, Lawler does get involved when Bret's trying to get out of the ring because Bret put the sharpshooter on Isaac Yankem, and naturally he's trying to tap. You can't tap. It's a steel cage match. In the stipulation for this particular one is you have to exit the cage. As Bret's trying to exit, Lawler interferes. Monsoon wasted no time coming down, throwing his ass in the damn cage, hoisting him up, complaining, oh, nosebleeds, and he gave himself a nosebleed. Yeah. You could tell he was doing it to himself, too. The camera, unfortunately, was on him as he has his hand by his nose. That was bad, but not as bad as this match. Isaac Yankem, did throw Bret somewhat of a beating in this one, but That's not going to keep the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be down. He did battle back against him, beat the holy hell out of him, and escaped the cage. And Brett is the winner. And
Stinker. Just thinking, and I love Bret Hart. It's hard to have a bad Bret Hart.
In a couple of weeks, we've got another match coming up where Lawler and Yankum face Brett Nakushi, and that's probably going to be just as bad as this. But unfortunately, it's not against Brett. It's just the booking that they're giving him in '95.
It's garbage. They did mention too. They mentioned that next week there would be a battle royal for the number one
contendership for the Intercontinental Championship.
Right. They mentioned that too during the program.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's going to help the show or not. It's actually the first match on the card. The main event, they announced it also on Raw that Alundra Blaze would be trying to get her title back against Bertha Faye. My God, that the women's division at that point, there is no women's division. No. You bring them in, you hire them, Blaze beat you, you leave. Repeat. Only this time, this one stuck around.
Yeah, so
why I don't know. Okay, so they gave Monday Night Raw a 2.6. They gave Monday Night Show a 2.2. In the eyes of the ratings people, Raw won the night. Your thoughts? Your winner.
It's Nitro again. It's Nitro again by a mile. The storyline, the main event. That's it.
I got to agree with you because, like I said, on paper, Brett and Isaac in a cage seems, pretty decent. On paper, yes. In actuality, no. And when you're going up against Flair and Sting against Anderson and Pillman, it's hard to vote for Raw. Opening match, which I always judge a pay-per-view by the opening and closing match. Opening match, I mean, even though Bad and Page didn't have the match,
it's furthering the storyline. It's furthering the storyline,
yeah. But I'll also go with Benoit Guerrero.
Tore the house down.
Officially opening match, and that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you have Triple H and Doink opening up. What is this?
And then that jobber match with Dean Douglas, then the tag match is like nobody cares. Yeah.
Yes. And then they announced that Triple H is going to face Fatu at the pay-per-view, which everybody's like, I don't care. And then, did you notice during the steel cage match that people were walking out?
Oh, they were. And
there was a whole line of people leaving. And I'm like, don't leave. It's Bret Hart.
So
they're not leaving because it's Bret. They're just leaving because it's shitty.
So that's one more. One more for the good
guys. Yeah. What is it now? 5-1.
It's 5-1. Raw's got some work to do.
I guess when you get to 145, you kind of win because, there's 288 episodes, so 144. So I guess whoever gets to 145 wins.
Yeah. So
don't worry. Raw's getting a lot of victories coming up in the future.
All right. Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, that's our review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.